And the catch is made by Taj Washington. Touchdown, USC.
Blocked by Embiid.
Timmy, yes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Beef Upfront podcast here on Pick Swap Media. This is your host, Ryan Coyle, back with another episode for Breakdowns with Beef. As we are now in April, we are in NFL draft month. The draft is less than a month away. April 27th, I believe, is the first round, and today we're going to be continuing our series of breaking down these top quarterback prospects. I've already done Bryce Young versus Tennessee, Texas, and LSU. Today's episode will be CJ Stroud, starting him off. We're going to be doing him versus Notre Dame. We're going to do another episode versus Michigan and then another episode versus Georgia. So expect these episodes to be coming hot and heavy throughout the rest of these next few weeks. And as we go on throughout the month to get you fully prepared for these top quarterbacks for the NFL draft this year. Coming into this game, this was week one. This was one of the more hyped up games of the season, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. And it turned out to be a bit of a snoozer. CJ Stroud and Ohio State wound up winning this one 21-10 versus Notre Dame, but it was really anticipated to be a really good game and not his best performance. And I think you could chalk that up to a bit of it just being the beginning of the season. I broke down his Michigan game earlier. That episode will be coming out later this week. And he was much more impressive in that game, and the receivers were too. There's just a lot of week one type tendencies in this game where it looks like they're off on their timing a bit. But CJ Stroud firmly in place to be or in position to potentially be that number one overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. The quarterback at Ohio State, 2-year starter, 6'3", 218 pounds in this 21-10 win over Notre Dame. He goes for 24 for 34 for 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he has 3 rushes for 1 yard in this game. Not much of a runner, but he is very good on the move and outside the pocket, and you'll see that quite a few times throughout this game. So if you haven't watched any of these episodes yet, we literally break down their entire game, all the throws and runs that they have in this matchup. And like I said, we broke down 3 of Bryce Young's games already. So if you're a Panthers fan or you're a Texans fan and you're most likely going to get one of these two guys, make sure to check these out and see what your guys are going to be getting. So without further ado, we'll get into it and break down CJ Stroud versus Notre Dame here. So this is the first play. This is the first play of the season. Not the ideal start after they give up a field goal on their opening drive. You got 1st and 10 here, and this is going to result in being a sack. Not exactly what you had envisioned coming into this game for your first offensive play of the year, but this is one of the few rare times where I feel like Stroud has been kind of more, I guess, discussed as just like a statue in the pocket and like a pure pocket passer, but he's really good, and you'll see it throughout this episode, real good at getting out of the pocket and hitting guys on the move. And this is one of the few instances where he kind of just stands there and doesn't use his legs, his mobility. He's not much of a runner, but you'll see what I mean when I say that he can move and throw the football. In this instance, he just sits here and takes a sack. Doesn't look to really escape or anything. So not the ideal start for Ohio State. He's usually pretty good at feeling the pressure and kind of flushing and being able to get out of the pocket, but running back doesn't pick up the blitz there either, and we go to 2nd and 15 to start. You'll notice throughout, this is one of the things where when I talked about Bryce Young, the main weakness I think in his game is his tendency to sometimes get sloppy with his mechanics and throw off his back foot a lot, which would lead to some high incompletions. If I have a major complaint about CJ Stroud's game, it's he misses low a lot. You see it there on 2nd 15. A lot of times he has the opportunity to hit guys in stride, and he's throwing it low in the dirt, which is either leading to an incomplete pass or just a catch and a fall, instead of potentially getting your guy on the move and getting him some more room to run. So you see right here, a low miss there, and now you're at 3rd and 15 to start out the game. There's an instance of him being able to roll to his right. I know it's not a great completion, not much move in there, but able to move, throw it between 2 guys, and you'll see he's got very good velocity as well on his throws. He's arguably the best pure thrower in this draft class. I think he's a more natural and refined thrower than Bryce Young. Bryce is just a little bit more mobile and has a little bit more pizzazz to his game. Uh, that's a pass interference there, but he doesn't look to hit the deep ball that much throughout this game. Watch the Michigan game; he throws it a little bit more, but in my notes here, I got he really likes to work the short to intermediate areas. I'm not sure if that's more him doing that or scheme design for just get the ball into these playmakers' hands. Because when you got guys like, at least in this game, Jackson Smith and Jigba's playing, you have Marvin Harrison, you have Ibuka, you have Julian Fleming, you have a bunch of really high level wide receivers. They're looking to just get the ball in these guys' hands, but he does have, in several instances, the touch, the velocity to make some pretty special throws. I think he's the best pure thrower in this draft class, and just the way the ball comes out of his hand, the spiral on it each and every time, pretty much very clean, compact mechanics as well. Not his best game here. We'll get into my overall grade as we go along, but you see all the tools and traits that teams are really wowed about. So that's a play that later in the season, Marvin Harrison is making for a touchdown. Um, he actually makes a very similar play in the Michigan game that I said I watched earlier today as well that resulted in a touchdown. It can't be much better of a throw, and this is Harrison still his first start as a collegiate receiver other than the Rose Bowl. I'm not sure if he technically started in that one 2 years ago, but this is a play he makes later in the season. Can't be much better of a ball here from CJ Stroud, but after this, they don't really go downfield much in the game. One area of the game I would like to see him maybe take a few more shots down the field because this is a great throw. I just think you just got to trust your receiver to go make the play again next time because what we saw from Marvin Harrison Jr. throughout the year, he tends to make these type plays more times than not. It's a 35-yard throw, perfect to the end zone. That's a touchdown. If you fast forward 5 or 6 weeks, Marvin Harrison's reeling that one in for a touchdown there. Pretty good there, getting the ball into the proper shoulder, able to get it into the receiver's hands on the bubble screen, give him some room to run. So this winds up being a touchdown. It's a better angle from the other one. It looks like a simple, like little 6-yard out route type thing, but you get to see the real from one hash to across the field to the other side. Hit the receiver here on an out route, and you give it to him where only he can get it, and gives him room to run up the sideline for this eventual touchdown. It looks like a simple little pitch and catch, but he's got to put some serious speed and velocity to avoid this one guy from jumping it. And he's able to do that, fit it in, and his receiver is able to do the rest from there. You see this linebacker kind of go out into the flat. If that's a duck or if that's like a loft a little bit, that's going to be an interception potentially for 6. Shows great speed and velocity, able to get that all the way across the field there. Another low miss. Much better when he's going on the run, flushing to his right. Obviously, he's able to get downhill that way. Also, momentum's kind of going that way. When he's going left, he has to flip his hips a little bit more and throw. But there's another instance there of a low pass incompletion, and you can see he's upset with himself. He knows that that's a layup that he has to be able to hit. He's going to be counting on the hit at the NFL level. Good second level throw there. Really good at working those intermediate levels. This is not an easy throw either. Not the tightest coverage, but still, you have to put some juice on this one to get into this little hole, this little gap to Marvin Harrison here. They're playing zone there underneath, safety up top. So that's a nice ball to the outside. Another instance where he's forced to throw in, and it's a bit low. Wasn't going to be much after that, but still like to see him get it up a little bit more. That's an incompletion. That's very good coverage, but I think his receiver still has a chance to make that play. DB makes just an even better play, but I liked his ability there. Shows his ability to step up, keep his eyes downfield, and throw a seed and give his receiver a chance to make a play on the ball. Another good out route there, good accuracy, very good accuracy from CJ Stroud. Like to see that from him. Some of these play calls kind of dead from the start. Missed some blocks, and there's a few plays ago to the tight end Stover out in the flat as well. Very just mostly every time when he's in the pocket, his throws look the exact same every time. It's like in basketball when you're a jump shooter, they always teach you shoot the same way every single time. And I think that's what CJ Stroud does the best. His throws always clean, compact, accurate. When he has like a clean pocket and he's able to sit in there and kind of dissect the field, look through his reads, he's able to get the ball out and it looks the same coming out of his hands every time. That repetitive nature that gives you, I think, as a coaching staff or as a scout, a good feeling that, all right, you're getting consistency from him. What we saw from Bryce Young, on the other hand, was when he gets sloppy with his mechanics and he's not looking similar to his previous throws, that's when he starts to get a little bit reckless with the ball and his throws start to go all over the place. Stroud, on the other hand, much more compact and solid, consistent throughout his mechanics most of the time, I think. Also does a good job. I forget if it's this game or the Michigan game, but even on some incompletions, he does a good job when he's throwing over the middle of putting it, I guess, where the receiver is protected. That might be one of the reasons why he misses low sometimes, because I think he's trying to limit their collisions or the contact that they could potentially be taken over the middle. But that was a good instance there where he doesn't lead the receiver too far out where the defensive back or the linebacker is able to come in and put a hit on him and ruin the play. He always puts it in a pretty good position where the receiver still has the ability to react and make a move. Very good on the run. Like that's another play where might be a bit of a timing issue. But if we'll skip through this one right here, but I think if this is 5 or 6 weeks later in the season, this is a potential touchdown. I'm excited to get to the Georgia game because watching the Georgia game live, he just absolutely lit it up and was a fantastic quarterback that night. I'm intrigued to see if there's more of these timing like throws because there's a bunch of plays where it seems like they're a second or two off or that half second. That's the difference between a completion and an incompletion. And I think this one might be one of them because this is a very good ball by Stroud, back pylon or the front pylon, but to that back shoulder where the receiver is neck and neck with the DB pretty much his entire way throughout down the field. And Stroud puts it only where he can get it. Might be just be that little half second difference for getting enough separation to be able to get your 2 feet in and complete the catch here. This is a great ball by Stroud, even though it's an incompletion. Another instance there where he's on the move. That's one of the great throws you'll see a guy make on the move. That's like an Aaron Rodgers level throw right there. That one a bit behind. I remember watching this game and they were talking about on the broadcast where might be a better angle here, but they're expecting the receiver, or Stroud's at least expecting the receiver to sit here. That's why apparently the pass was behind a little bit. I could see too why the receiver keeps going because Stroud's able to loft it out there and he's able to get behind him. He could run it in for 6, but this is just another instance of some bad timing leading to a drop. Not sure if that's a receiver problem, a quarterback problem. That's something within the offensive locker room that would be discussed, but kind of hard to evaluate on tape. But I can see the argument for both sides. But that's why I think looking at the box score doesn't always do you wonders. I mean, 23 of 30, 24 34, not the greatest day for only 223 yards overall. But there's a few incompletions where it's miscommunications and they're not really bad throws. Another low incompletion there. But you see, even on that bubble, just the velocity and the way he's able to get the football out throws absolute seeds. They had very good coverage on Harrison whole night. I wish we kind of saw these two teams match up again down the line because Harrison was destroying people the entire season, was probably the best wide receiver in all of college football last year. And they really covered him up well in this game. And as I was saying, not much timing and chemistry, I think, yet. These two, obviously, along the course of the season, got much better together. But just a little bit off here, and with good coverage, it just leads to an incomplete pass. He's got to hit him sooner. It might not have been his first read, but he's open. We'll see it better from the back angle. but he's open and he has a lot of room to run. If he's not looking towards the other side of the field, you'll see it on this. Right here, he dusts his man off the line of scrimmage. Throw it now. Look at the safety. His hips are completely turned. He's running towards the middle third of the field. Harrison's cutting in there. That's a very difficult play for him to be able to flip that quick. You get the ball in Harrison's hands, there's a chance that's a potential touchdown right here. I mean, even right here, wide open. And I'm not sure what he's looking at across the middle of the field, but Harrison is in his own zip code right there. And we've seen a few times the velocity that Stroud's able to throw with. You're able to fit that ball in. That's a lot of room to run and an explosive play waiting to happen. Another good bubble screen there. Speed on the ball, out in front of his receiver. You see this a couple times throughout this game. So I think it's a little bit of an underrated thing, but CJ Stroud, 6'3", 218 pounds. So like a 6'3", 220 guy. He's a pretty big body quarterback. And we saw this past season, especially with the Philadelphia Eagles, how important the quarterback sneak can be at certain times. And 3rd and 2, I think this is a attractive trait that we're going to be seeing from teams a lot more often. This is a long 2 as well. And Stroud takes it and he gets that first down. This is just a thing I think we're going to see teams be doing more often until it gets ruled illegal or whatever with these pushes from behind, the rugby type skirmish plays. But this is something that I don't think is going to be taken for granted amongst coaching staffs and general managers and scouting departments. Just his ability to power through here and get these first downs, because I think with the Eagles' success with it this past year, we're going to see more and more teams be doing it this season. Uses that big frame, gets it easily, and that was, like I said, a long 3rd and 2. It's probably more so a 3rd and 3, and he's able to get the full 3 yards there. Misses a bit high on that one, but this is a guy where in the Michigan game, no offense to this guy, every time he was targeted, it was either like a catch for a loss, an incomplete pass, or the play just went nowhere. And this is another instance where if this is Harrison going for this one, or this was Emeka Ibuka, or however you pronounce his last name, this is a completion. This is an NFL receiver. This is a completion. Just not much real athleticism going for him here. I know this pass is a little bit high. It could be more on him, but this is a play, 8 out of the 10 NFL receivers or tight ends that you're throwing to is going to make this catch. Just a little bit high. Would like to see it a little bit more in the numbers, but that's going to be a catch on an NFL Sunday. Very impressive play there. Able to pirouette out of that. I know it's only a 4 or 5 yard gain, but feels the pressure. Doesn't feel it early on in the game on that first play where it's a sack, but he knows his left tackle is getting beat here. He's got pressure on the other side here, able to pirouette out of the pocket. Instead of a 3rd and potential 10 or a sack, he gets it to like a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and manageable. And in certain plays like this, that's all you can ask for from your quarterback. Throws on the run, dime, out of bounds. So like I said, picks up 4 yards there. Bit of a risky pass there. Tight coverage, but still enough velocity to get it in the hole there. Very good play there. You see the entire Notre Dame sideline calling for that to be out of bounds. But yeah, we'll see it here. This is my favorite part about his game. I think he's been really hyped up to be this pocket quarterback, able to dominate you from the pocket, and he can do that. But when things break down, he's not a super athlete. Like, he's not very explosive, very fast, like we saw from in certain instances like Bryce Young, or when he's moving out of the pocket, like, oh wow, this guy can move. He's shifty. But he is able to extend plays and do it in a very efficient manner, and is very good at throwing on the run. Like, this is a very, very tough throw. Pressure bearing down on him as well. Able to use enough speed to get outside the pocket there. And they don't show the full completion, but that was a tightrope type catch on the sideline. Great catch by the receiver as well. Another instance where he's able to throw it across the entire field and get it out there pretty easily as well. Misses a bit high there. That's on him. But this is another play where I was going to say maybe later in the season that's a completion. Just some time in there because it was like a back shoulder type thing. 2nd and 6. See some more pressure here. I think that's coming back for a hold most likely, but a bit of a risky, dangerous pass there. Yeah, see, now you're at 2nd and 21, so that was a hold on that previous play. Very good at working the short to intermediate after we saw that one incompletion down the field earlier in the game that I said later in the season was a touchdown versus Michigan on the same play pretty much. He doesn't really go back to the downfield ball that much. And like I said at the beginning, not sure if that's a Stroud decision or a scheme personnel type decision. Coaching staff telling him to keep it short, but he's able to score on this upcoming play here. 3rd and 11. First off, I don't like the idea to bring pressure here by Michigan or by Notre Dame, excuse me. It takes them out of field goal range, maybe if you get a sack, but they bring these two guys here in the middle of the field, leaving the receiver here wide open or one-on-one with him. He's able to beat him into the inside. They eventually score a touchdown on this play, but if you're Notre Dame, all you got to do is sit back, keep them in front of you. 3rd and 11, they're most likely going to be kicking a field goal unless they like to a 4th and 2, 4th and 1. And you got them tied up at 10-10. Here, you send the blitz, you send the pressure, you open up the middle of the field, a huge gaping hole, and Stroud is able to wisely take advantage of it, leads his receiver out on a bit of a post route here, and they're able to score a touchdown, take the lead, and they don't give it back up. See this pressure coming here, delivers a strike across the middle. Very good play by Stroud here. They show it from the back angle as well. I love the back angle because then you're able to really see what the quarterback's looking at. But like I said, they're bringing these two guys, and that's going to leave, all right, this safety's on him. This corner's on him. We got a corner here. We got a corner here. And the middle of the field is wide open. And Stroud diagnoses that, is able to see that 3rd and 11. He knows the pressure's coming. Waits that extra second for his guy to get free a little bit, and he's able to float it out there for a pretty easy touchdown. Just don't like this play call by Notre Dame. Like I said, force them to kick this field goal even and make it 10-10. And the speed on his passes, like, they never differ. Like, if he is he can put touch on his passes, but I'm saying if he's rolling, it's not like he's going to be throwing wobbly passes. They're all coming out with the same speed and velocity that they would be if he had a clean pocket and needed to fit it in a hole somewhere else. Very, very good and consistent when it comes to throwing the football. Another instance there where he shows his ability to pirouette out of it and completes another really good, tough pass on the sideline there. Like, that's inches. I believe they show it from not his back angle, but from the receiver's back angle. This is no easy pass by any means. And this is to a running back as well. Credit to him on the catch. But yeah, you see it from this way. Pressure bearing down on him, an inch maybe on the sideline, and is able to get into the running back. Running back withstands a contact, able to bring it in for a completion. Very impressive play there by Stroud. Another very, very good throw. I won't beat a dead horse, but you see that ability to get out of the pocket and throw on the move, kind of beating that narrative of him being like a statue pocket type quarterback. Very excited to get into that Georgia game where he was really moving and using his legs. Another play there where he's able to get that quarterback sneak, and that one secures the game. That's 21-10. It's pretty much done anyway, but these are the type plays that won't go unnoticed by NFL scouts, NFL GMs, coaching staffs. They like these things where, all right, this is a trend in the NFL. Our guy can do this. This guy can potentially do this. Bryce Young, you don't know if you're sending him up the middle on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, his small frame. CJ Stroud, 6'3", 220, with a good offensive line in front of him. It's going to be tough to stop that on these 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 type plays. So that was it for CJ Stroud versus Notre Dame. We finalize with the summary on this one. Throws a very pretty ball, like I said. Works in the intermediate and short distance a lot. Would like to see him go down the field a little bit more. After he missed on that first one, it seemed like he was kind of shy to potentially go back to it. Showcases or doesn't showcase much of the deep ball, like I said. When he misses his throws 9 times out of 10, I think it's going to be low and in the dirt, which I think would be better than high, because if you're missing high, you're giving them the chance to deflect it, balls to be intercepted and whatnot. So very impressive throwing on the move, a lot more mobile than I thought coming into it. But he didn't have many wow moments in this game. He had a lot more in the Michigan game, which make sure to tune into that episode. But still, looks the part, you could see why, and I'm excited to see him build on from here because this is only game 1 of the season. I'm excited to see how he gets better throughout the year. I gave him an overall 6 out of 10 in this game. They were able to get a win, but coming into this game, Ohio State was hyped up all season about, this is going to be an offense that's putting up 45, 50 points a game. They go out, only allow 21 to a Notre Dame team. That was a very good defense as well, though. That surprised a little bit here in this one, but still an overall solid game, gets the win, doesn't turn it over, and then we go on to Michigan. So that'll be the first episode of the CJ Stroud part of this series for Breakdowns with Beef. As I said, we'll be breaking down his game against Michigan and Georgia. We still got Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, and Hendon Hooker. We'll definitely be getting into hopefully a few more guys as well, maybe only an episode or 2 on them as we head into the draft, but a few more mock drafts coming your way as well. As always, thank you everyone for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, and we will talk soon for the CJ Stroud versus the CJ Stroud versus Michigan game.